How to price your coaching program easily? This was the question that Christie Miller and I discussed in a recent Facebook Live. What you see here is the recording. If you want to learn more about Christie Miller's amazing work helping health coaches get more clients, you can find her link in the description below. For now, enjoy the video.
If you're like most health and nutrition coaches, there has probably been a point in time where you wonder, what the heck should I charge for my courses or for my private coaching? And in this episode of the Get More Online Clients Challenge, I have a very special guest. But for those that don't know me, I am Christie Miller, the health coaches coach and the host of the Get More Online Clients show. Today's special guest is Beier. He is formerly from Precision Nutrition, and that's where I first met him. And he helps nutrition coaches really get comfortable with their coaching practices and being online and really doing a bang-up job for their clients. So without further ado, let me bring Robin on now. And I have to push a couple of buttons and then make one adjustment. Hello, Robin.
Christie, thanks for having me.
Thank you. I know in the beginning of my coaching practice, I made all of the pricing mistakes. And this is part of what led to my $88,000 loss in 2 years, which really sucked. Yeah, nobody should do that. But one of my problems was I was saying that my target market was executive women, really smart, high-powered, successful women who woke up in the middle of the night and said, if I'm so smart, why can't I lose weight? And yet, my pricing was $10 a month, which meant these successful women looked at my pricing and thought, that can't be that good, because that was reality. So I'm really glad that you are here today to help our coaches price their private coaching and really give them the advice that I so wish that I had at the time. So Robin, welcome. Thank you for doing this. And I'm just going to kind of toss it over to you. How did you get into this whole pricing conversation in your head? And where do you think coaches should start?
So first, again, thank you for having me. For everyone who's watching, thank you so much for being here. I have been the worst nutrition coach myself. So I went through my first certification and the instructor said, that is the price you should charge. And I said, okay, I'm going to charge that price. And it kind of worked, it kind of didn't work. And all the typical issues come. Clients say, oh, I need to postpone this a little bit, or this is too much. So I said, okay, yes, let's make it a little bit less so you can actually afford it. Because the problem for me was I had an income goal that I needed to reach. I had to pay my bills, but I didn't have any thought process behind it. It was, here is the number and go there. And also, as you mentioned already a little bit, all these stories come up when we talk about charging money. Like, nobody will ever pay me so much for my money, or nobody's even ready to pay coaching, or is it too high, too low? And in the end, for me, it really is a question of what is my time worth? And for me, the critical thought was from a book called Your Money or Your Life. And the idea is that money is a form of life energy. So I'm spending my life energy on a client and I want an exchange. So they give me life energy back in the form of money. So the moment I thought about, okay, I am investing time in my client, I had something that I can measure. I can measure, okay, with this client, I spend 2 hours a month. Or if I have my coaching package, I can estimate, okay, I have 45 minutes of coaching calls, and then, I don't know, another half an hour for email checks. And I can take my timer or whatever and see, okay, I have 2.5 hours on average with every client. That is my investment. And then I can translate it in a way to, okay, when I have 2.5 hours with a client and I need to make $5,000 a month,
Mhm.
I can see, okay, how much money do I need to make per hour to reach my income goal?
Mhm.
So the idea really is that we have to decide and have to measure how we spend our time.
Mhm.
So for me, there are essentially two things. I'm either coaching or working on my business. Business is having these interesting conversations with you, um, making sure that all my taxes are paid and the bills are written and sent out and the Instagram looks nice. So all the non-coaching tasks. And then there's in the end something left for coaching. And everyone has a different amount. Maybe for everyone who's watching, maybe you're doing this as a side business and not as a full-time job. So let's assume you have 10 hours every week for coaching. You need every week for a client 1 hour, just to make the calculation a little bit easier. So you have time for 10 clients every week. Now, that means you have time, if you meet them twice a week, for something like 20 clients in a month. Okay, 20 clients in a month and an income goal of 5,000. And then you can calculate, okay, with every client, with every month, I need to make so and so much money
Mhm.
to reach my income goal. And one of the things that I think on many other pages or programs is you often see these calculations, but they don't take into account, for example, your experience. So for me, this number that you calculate, for example, just to say a number, okay, I need $200 with every client every month.
Mhm.
That is the absolute baseline. And when you do a big certification, if you really upgrade your coaching game, if you learn new techniques like motivation interviewing or you get into the beginnings of cognitive behavior therapy, or just you smooth out the process and you really increase the value by giving greater service. With every time you do that, you add a little bit to that number.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you said so many good things, and I didn't want to interrupt you. First off, can you repeat the name of that book?
Your money or your life.
Okay, I have not heard of that one. I'm going to put it on my reading list, so thank you for that. Jane, if you are here live with us, will you type your money or your life book in the comments below? Jane, my client engineer, actually happens to be in my home today. She arrived yesterday and surprised all of our coaching clients by walking into this room. So I'll have her put that in the chat below. And then another thing that you said, was look at what your income goal is and versus your how many clients you can take on and your pricing. So it's super important to reverse engineer this. And we talk about this in day one of our Build Your Online Course Challenge because it's so important to know the numbers. The numbers are essentially your GPS of your business. So if you want to make $5,000 and you are taking on 10 clients a month, that means each client will be paying you $5,000 a month if you're going to hit that goal. Now, I think I said 5,000 a month. I mean, 500 a month times 10 is $5,000. And it's super important to realize that our coaching rates are fluid. They will change over time. When I was a new coach, I mentioned I was charging $10 for my monthly, that was my monthly membership that had so much content in it. That was a joke, those prices. But my coaching rates coming right out of the gate were $100 an hour. I felt confident charging that even as a brand new coach because I had been a high powered attorney and my target market was those highly successful women and they saw value in hiring professionals. So I knew even as a new coach that I had I was confident that I could charge that and I was worth that. But each coach has to look at their confidence level and how they are doing. And my coach, Dallas Travers, always says you have to grow into your pricing shoes. And so this is essentially what you're saying also. As you get more certifications, as you build your knowledge base, as you see clients getting more results, you will have the confidence to raise your rates. And I love that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you already mentioned in a way how to approach this idea. How do I raise my rates? Like, if I'm uncomfortable with the idea of instead of charging $100 or $200 per month, I want to charge 215. Then I can go into a sales conversation, or if you have more course program, you can run an A/B test. Like, okay, I let people run through my website and let's see how many people buy it for 200 and how many buy it for 230. And if I see, oh, they still buy it at a good rate with 230, I have literally data that shows somebody sees the worth. And even if you have one-on-one conversations, you can drop a higher price and see their reaction. And often for me, the practice is I went through my testimonial book or also the messages that I get from my clients. That was so helpful, so helpful, so helpful. So before I want to bring out or mention a new price to somebody I haven't signed up before, I go through this for a few minutes and read, and they have this. And I can basically feel how valuable my clients thought my work is. And I also then ask the new price with more confidence because I had this frame and this inner feeling of there is evidence that people think that is super valuable.
And in building the confidence, one thing that I do and I teach my clients to do is when you are saying your coaching package price, before you get on that enrollment call, all around your house, keep saying, let's say your package is $500 a month. All around your house, be saying, my coaching package is $5,000 a month. My coaching package is $5,000 a month. So that when you are on the enrollment call and you say, my coaching package is $500 a month, it comes with this energy of, I know, right? That's such a great deal, as opposed to being scared of, well, my coaching package is $500 a month. Like, is that okay? Because we have to deliver with confidence that we know the value, because otherwise it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and I think there are two parts to this as well. One is everything is easier if you, in a way, attack it. So you go into the conversation and say, this is my price, instead of, this is my price, please love me.
Yeah.
And the other part is it's the idea of this practice of this visualization. I've done this before, and I think I'm not entirely sure how to best phrase it. There's this idea of, if I ask for $500 a month, I put myself under positive pressure. Somebody sees so much value in my work. Now I can't slip. Now I can't procrastinate. Now I can't not respond in a helpful manner. So if you have a $10 program, you will write $10 emails. But if you have a $500 program, you will write $500 emails.
Yeah, that was my problem. I had a $10 program and I was writing $5,000 emails. And that's how I lost so much money. We've had some good comments coming in. Let me pop a couple of them up here. So Vicky is saying that one of my coaches suggested every 5 clients, raise your price a little until you reach your ideal price point. And I did something similar to this. So I had 2 benchmarks. My first benchmark was if my conversion rate on enrollment calls exceeds 50%, that's a clear indication that it's time to raise my prices. The other thing I did was I did every 3 clients. I would test higher pricing. And I think people that know you and that know me, they understand that we're not in this like to make money. Yes, it's our business and we are making money, but it's not like we're trying to gouge our clients of, oh, let's see how much higher we can go. We provide a value. And just like you said, we are trading our valuable time to help our clients, and we deserve to be paid what we think that is worth. So how do you feel about raising the prices after a certain number of clients?
I love the commitment, because something that you can always tell everyone and yourself is, I'm going to raise my prices. And then 2 years later, you're still telling somebody, I'm going to raise my prices. So if you have this hard rule that you follow, that is, I absolutely love the idea. So Vicky, thumbs up to you, thumbs up to your coach. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah. And then another question that I think is really good for us to touch on too is Aaron is asking, how about pricing in blocks of time? And I think Robin and I both agree that you're selling a coaching package. You're not selling one-off coaching sessions. But then he also asks about pricing that includes tax, or is it integrated? When you are setting your coaching prices, you have to remember that you are a business and you have expenses. You have your internet, you have your eCam Live, if you have eCam Live like I do. Everything that goes into running your online business is an expense, and your coaching rates need to cover all of that as if you were a brick and mortar store. So, Robin, what do you have to say about pricing that includes tax or is integrated?
So I would also like to address the idea with the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're charging per hour, for example, it communicates something very difficult, because it would mean if I'm slower with my work and if I take longer with you reaching your goal, I make more money.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I think, having this, you charge me per hour, that would only reward taking longer for your results, unless you're making something like a membership program where consistent support every week is the actual offer.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise than that, I think having the idea of, this is my closed solution, everything that you need is in this package, is much easier to sell. And to the other question, so when I talk about income goal, I mean everything. That is my burn rate, essentially, as a person, the rent,
Mm-hmm.
for example, or if you have a separate business structure, I think in the US it's LLC, I think, you have to cover your personal, it's not long, so your monthly income as an employee in that company.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to all the expenses of your company, and everything is your income goal. And maybe I may so crazy, you may want to have a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 1 month, 1.5 months off a year. So your coaching prices have also to include your sick days and your vacation. Maybe I'm sounding crazy, but maybe I want to save some money for a beautiful vacation, or maybe even, God forbid, saving something for later when I'm getting older. I'm not this super healthy person anymore. So everything that you need as a person, plus your business, has to be under this income goal.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, my time. My sister has a nice way of doing it. She says I have to earn everything that I need in a week in 3 days.
Ah.
I have 3 days to work with in her with her clients or on her businesses. So in 3 days, I need to make all the money that I need for the whole week, because I'm not working 7 days a week. I'm working 3 days a week, 2 days on the business, and then I have 2 days off.
I love that. And I know when I started, I worked 7 days a week, practically 24 hours a day. If you said you wanted a coaching call at 9 p.m. when I'm normally asleep, I would say yes. I mean, it was crazy. I had zero boundaries. And I think that every coach goes through that a little bit, but the faster you can get to the point where you are really treating your business like a business and not a per hour coaching rate, like personal. And I think part of this comes from so many health coaches were originally personal trainers to begin with. So there is that dollar for hour mentality. But when we put together a coaching package, I would always bundle my 3-month coaching package with so many things that were in it that couldn't necessarily be priced, because I didn't want my clients trying to calculate my hourly rate, because they get in their own head of, oh my gosh, I have an hour with Christie and it's this much money and I need to show up in a certain way, and they get, really nervous. Whereas if there are text check-ins or WhatsApp check-ins or whatever type of check-ins you want to have, if there are other resources, I would give my private clients access to my courses so that they could go and do a specific training on what they're struggling on, so that our coaching call was true coaching and no teaching. But there's a lot of ways to really get creative when we are looking at what we are offering, and how the most important thing is, how can we best serve our clients in a way that it feels like a win-win for everyone?
Yeah, and I think these stories that we have in our head often come into this. Health coaches either are personal trainers, or at least they have this principle of, I'm working 40 hours as an accountant or as an attorney. And they are already thinking about this, and in a way it doesn't translate to having a service-oriented business. And the other thing is, really, when we think about the idea of somebody pays me something, many people, especially if nutrition coaches that are so passionate about helping others, they want to have the lowest possible entry point. So they make it as cheap as possible to help as many people as possible, while ignoring their own advice, because most nutrition coaches would say, well, you have to fill your own cup first before you can spend, while lowering the prices to spend as much on everyone else but themselves.
Oh yeah, I ran myself into not only the $88,000 losses, but adrenal fatigue. I was a complete mess. And I'm actually thankful for that experience, because I believe it makes me a better business coach now, because I understand all of those mistakes, because I think I made every single one of them. But you're so right. It's about building a business that, number one, is sustainable, but number two, setting your pricing at a level where people will feel a commitment. And there's this saying, I don't know who started the saying, but the transformation begins with the transaction. We made the mistake of giving full scholarships into some of our weight loss coaching programs. And guess what? 0 results. There was no skin in the game. But one year I gave I think it was a 30 or a 40% scholarship. And that lady just had a really heart-wrenching situation going on. Her husband had terminal cancer. I let her ask for what scholarship she wanted, and I was willing to give 50%. And whatever she asked for, I was like, instantly, it was less than what I was willing to give. And I gave it to her. She went on to lose 70 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
People have to have a stake in the game. And even then,
Mm-hmm.
it guarantee that they're going to take action. I've invested in coaching programs and I've done nothing.
Oh, for sure.
But it has served a purpose, and I learned lessons from that. Everything we do in life, we either get the results we want or the lessons we need, or a combination of the two. And so I just love that you touched on that about filling our own cups first so that we can serve. And I would rather serve less people and have them get
Mhm.
than more people where they don't get results.
Yeah, and I know many nutrition coaches or health coaches struggle with this feeling of putting themselves first. So I also think increasing your prices allows you to be of better service to their clients.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't have to handle 100 clients, just to be, if I try to handle 100 clients to reach my income goal, but I increase my prices to so many that I have 10 clients,
Mm-hmm.
every client gets 10 times the attention. And they will get 10 times the results. They will be 10 times happier. They will give you 10 times better testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, increasing your prices because you know there are so many people coming at me and I'm always at my capacity allows you to work with the people that you work with better because you don't have to spread your energy over so many people, but you can decrease it and give every client more attention, more energy, and you also get into a day other when you think about I have 5 really exciting clients or I have 20 really exciting clients.
10 really exciting or 10, 20 exciting. Yeah, no, I think it's so important. And, we are human. And if our prices are set too low, we run the risk of resenting our clients. And we are in the coaching business to love on our clients, to get fired up when we see clients on our roster. Like, I keep my private coaching roster very small. And so when I open up my calendar and I see that I have a private coaching session, I am fired up. I am so excited to serve. But when I had my roster where it was filled maybe 10, 15, 20 sessions in a week, I had a completely different attitude. It was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to do this? How am I going to keep up my energy? How am I going to remember? How am I going to get my notes in the right place so I'm a better coach the next time we meet with that client? So I think it's really important when we look at our pricing to set it at a place where it's a win-win. And we've got a lot of comments coming in here. Let me pop in a couple here. So Jessica says, the timing of this is perfect. I'm building the pricing and structure for a membership program today. Love that. So glad that you are here. Let's see if we've got a question. Let's see. Catherine, so smart. Shout out to Catherine. We met when we were getting trained by the legendary Jack Canfield. Love Catherine. She prepares a budget and business plan at the start of the year, and I track my expenditure and income against it. So she knows what's going on. That is what I do now. As a new coach, I knew I was losing money and I couldn't stand to look at it. I was like an ostrich with my head in the sand. Coaches, please don't do that because you do not want the IRS knocking on your door and auditing you like what happened to me. They don't really knock on the door. They send an email, but it feels the same way. Okay, let's see. Janice says, let me see if I can get this whole question to show up on the screen. Janice says, nope, it's too long. Oh, here we go. Where will they be without you? That is such a good question to ask yourself when you're pricing. How much is resolving their pain point worth to them? If it's important enough, they will find the money. We all do that. If they can't justify it, it's not their real why. A lot of good points here. When people bring up the I can't afford you objection, in my experience, at least 95% of the time, it was not a true money objection. It was, I don't see the value in your coaching. That's on me because I have not presented the value properly. or they don't believe themselves, or they don't trust themselves that they will actually take action, or they don't believe that I'm the coach for them. So there's always three things that we can look at when people are bringing up the can't afford it. And I know I have sold gold jewelry to get into a program after I decided I wasn't going to lose any more money. Like, it was no signing up for courses or coaching unless I had the cash or could come up with it. And I sold gold. I've had other people who have done errands for their neighbors to come up with the money. So I think, to the most part, and there are exceptions, of course, to the most part, when we want something, we will find a way. We will get very resourceful, find a way to do it.
Yeah, I have a deep belief that it extends coaching is that we always get what we want, but we sometimes don't know that we want it.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, I don't want this, or this is too much, they either are either saying, okay, I don't see the value, or I want this superficially, but something deep inside tells me I don't want this yet.
Yeah.
And it's so often that we get wrapped in our heads with, oh, I'm not valuable, they don't like me, I should be better to whatever. But I think in a way this is often very related to relationships. If somebody says, I don't want you, they should be the most unattractive client that you can ever meet. If somebody is in front of you and says, what you have is not interesting enough for me, then that is the 100% correct description of a client I don't want to work with.
Yeah. So what advice, Nelly, and then we'll wrap this up. I see we've gone a half hour already. What advice do you have for O'Nelly, who says, my potential clients get scared when I say that my coaching program for 3 months is a total of $1,500, and they most of the time run for the hills? How do I address this price objection?
So I would think at least in two areas. One is, if you have a really high price, your sales cycle needs to be longer. So you develop value for a longer time, and often you have more steps of commitment. So it's not just I'm not just liking your Instagram page, but I'm also joining your email newsletter, and I'm maybe doing a free course with you, like you do the five-day courses. So you have these sales cycles that are longer, that develop trust over a longer period of time. And the other part is, maybe it's not for them, and you just have not find the right clients for you that see the value that you offer. And there's also always the opportunity to communicate the value more clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is so important, because really, what is the price of better health? It's priceless. And we've all tried to do it on our own and not succeeded. And so it's really showing the value of having someone help you cross that finish line, and not only start, but finish what you started. And I so appreciate you being here and helping our viewers, either live or on replay, really get a feel for pricing and how to do it. And so much of it is a mental game. And I remember hearing many years ago that our income will never exceed our personal development. And that is the most true statement, along with entrepreneurship should have a T at the end, because all our stuff will come up, especially when we are setting our pricing. So Robin, where do people go to get more of you? Because we just barely touched on the surface. And from the minute I met you through Precision Nutrition, I was like, wow, love this guy, his knowledge, he's so amazing. Where do people go to find more of you?
So if you want to see myself more moving on a screen, you can just search my name on YouTube. So there are hours and hours where I talk about pricing and how to create your coaching packages, but then also how to elevate your the coaching experience so you create more value. If you want to talk with me, the best way is to hit me up on Instagram. So it's just R for my first name and then Beier, or you search my name on Instagram. And you can also check out my website. But if you want to see myself on a screen, YouTube. And if you want to talk with me, if you have any questions, you can reach out on Instagram. That's the best way.
Okay, so we've got your name here. It's spelled correctly. I've got no typo in my slide this week. Again, apologies to Laura from a couple weeks ago. And just search for Robin and you will find him. And you cannot go wrong with any of Robin's YouTube videos. They are just amazing. We were talking before and I was just telling him how impressed I am with everything that he's putting out on a weekly basis. Well, Robin, thank you so much. For our viewers who are watching live or on replay, we will come back and look at all the questions. And if I missed any, I will come back and answer them later. But Robin, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate your friendship. I love being able to call you a colleague. And my hat is off to you, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. And for everyone who's watching or still watching or watching the replay, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great day.
Yes. So I'm going to hit the end broadcast here and Robin, stay on with me for a little bit conversation. All right, everyone. I am Christie Miller, the Health Coaches Coach, reminding you to get out there and make it happen. We'll see you next time.